First up from Will Marshall, the weakest spot on our defense entering Week 5. I think there are two areas that maybe bring up the most concern. Interior defensive line, especially outside of Odigizua, is not great at generating consistent pressure. Now, in theory, Neville Gallup's return will boost that, but that's one area, and then the one you guys all know, cornerback number 2. Anthony Brown's not an ideal CB2, although he has played much better since Week 1. Again, lesser competition, all factors in. And, I think Kelvin Douglas is still a little bit further away from being back. From Vanity, how many yards do you have Elliot rushing for? If you mean this season, I think if you can get to 1,200, 1,300, you're very excited. That was, I think, what I put the over-under at this year. In this game against the Giants, to get to 100, you'll probably end up having good results in terms of the win-loss column. From Jace, Dak's top 5, Mitch still owes me. Yes, he does. We will continue to bully Mitch for you, Jace. From Treston, Dallas Nation, it's the $2 Super Chat. Thank you again, my friend. Another one now from Will Marshall. Any news on Gallup? I want all the weapons back. Defenses can't stop us now. When he comes back, oh wow. All hands on deck by the time we reach the Chiefs. I think what's going to happen for Gallup, I think the Cowboys across the board taking a very cautious approach with injuries. After the bye, that was kind of maybe the more general timeline for Gallup to return. And with the initial injury, they had the window before and after it. I think with what the Cowboys are doing right now, I think it's most likely that Gallup comes back after the bye. From Kyle Gustin, who's coming back? And I hope we don't overlook the Giants. I don't think this team is one to overlook. That's not the vibe I've got through 4 games. Hope that stays the case. As for who's coming back, maybe Carlos Watkins gets back this week. I think Dorrance Armstrong's further away. I don't know if the Donovan Wilson injury is quite healing the way the Cowboys would have hoped for either. The guys on IR, I'm not really getting my hopes up for that one very much either. From Joe Johnson, is this Cowboys team legit? Like more than just the NFC East, I mean. You're asking if they're a contender or a pretender, basically. I think you have to lean towards contender. I mean, think about the schedule they've played. All we can judge on, really, is these 4 games and how we think the talent level is on the roster. Narrow loss against the Bucs, the defending champs, who have looked great since then. Beat the Chargers, who have taken down 2 damn good teams in the Raiders and the Chiefs. Blew out the Eagles, and were crushing Carolina before they made a bit of a fourth-quarter rally. The Panthers were undefeated. The schedule has been about as tough of a 4-game stretch for Dallas as they'll face all year outside of that Raiders-Chiefs little stretch. I think they are legit. So I'm curious what you guys have to say here, all right? How you feeling in the Cowboys, or about the Cowboys, I should say. Scale it for me, 1 to 100. Get your votes in right now in the comments section. From Gimli 21, hey Tom, you are stallion of a man. Wow, thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me, including my wife. You should have Jeff Kavanaugh or Rock Lombardi guest star on the show. You have similar viewpoints, and I love it. And actually, Jeff and I have golfed before. He's a good guy. I actually don't know Vach all that well, but both guys do great stuff as well here. You guys are lucky, Cowboys fans. There's a lot of great Cowboys YouTubers out there. Now, today's show helped out by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. And you guys should listen to me right now. I've hit 2 straight 5-team parlays. I've turned $10 into over $250. I'm feeling it right now when it comes to betting. And oh, by the way, an easy money for you to, or bets place right now. How about the Cowboys win the NFC East? Minus 300. That's some decent odds for a team, I think, in a couple weeks might be like minus 600. Washington plus 450, Philly plus 900, Eagles plus 1,000. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Cowboys125 to get you a 125% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Cowboys125. From Carlos Esparza, with the trade deadline coming in a few weeks, what position should we trade for? I think you monitor the market for centers if one comes up. Probably not. Monitor for a defensive tackle. Monitor for cornerback help. See if there's a big-time name that comes open. But remember, the Cowboys are getting back a bunch of good players on the defensive side of the ball. DeMarcus Lawrence, Neville Gallimore is going to come back. You might get Kelvin Joseph back and contributing as well. Michael Gallup comes back. So you're doing all this with the money entering Week 4. No team, including La'el Collins, was down more salary cap dollars from injuries and or suspensions than the Dallas Cowboys were. That's significant to be 3-1 through that stretch. From Vanity, is Gallup still necessary? Wilson is very promising. If you mean short term, yes, Matt Gallup's a better player than Cedric Wilson. I think what we should acknowledge here, folks, is the Cowboys have gotten above expected play from Michael Gallup and from Cedric Wilson. Both guys were a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. And they've got, I think, better than expected production out of Noah Brown, a seventh-round pick. Because of that, maybe the quarterback is elevating the players around him. Just saying. From Dr. J, a super chat here. Does McCarthy get enough credit for being prepared for games and halftime adjustments? Have we forgot Jason Garrett? We just need to execute halftime speeches. I think you're right, Dr. J. I think that McCarthy is not getting quite enough credit. They've been prepared. They've made in-game and halftime adjustments as well. I think that should give credit to McCarthy. I get that you got good offensive coordinators, etc., but I do think this is something being overlooked. The Cowboys, and I've mentioned this, I think it was on Monday's video, I can't remember anymore, time blurs together. The Cowboys have a coaching advantage, and we haven't seen that in a long time. So I get that everyone loves Moore and Quinn for good reason, but yeah, I think McCarthy gets some credit there as well. I want you guys now to predict the Cowboys' record this year. They're going to win 11 games, 12 games. I had them at 10, and they look better than what I thought they were going to. That might end up being 2. I had them win the NFC East either way, but get your votes in for me. Predict the Cowboys' record this season. From Stephen McClain, what is a reasonable pick total for Trevon Diggs considering his start? If you end up with 10 interceptions, if you get 5 more the rest of the way, you will probably win Defensive Player of the Year. That's what Xavier Howard did last year. I expect teams will eventually stop throwing at Diggs as much as they have, but I think the pick numbers will drop down. So too, though, will the yards he's allowed through the air. From Brandon Brown, worried about Sherman signing with Tampa. I never thought the Cowboys were going to sign Sherman. I know he was a scheme fit. The Cowboys are hoping to get Kelvin Joseph back soon as well. There's already a numbers game coming with this Cowboys roster with the guys coming off of IR. And by the way, Sherman, look, it was a tough spot for him. He didn't play well in his first game. Every time he got targeted, he allowed a catch. So, look, Sherman to the Bucs was a good signing on their part because they were decimated, even worse than the Cowboys were at corner, but I'm not in meltdown mode over it. From Justin Simmons, if the Cowboys make a deep playoff run and take an L, hope not, do you fire McCarthy and hire Moore? It's a constant question here on the Cowboys Report. It's a future Tom problem for starters. I'm not worried about it because I'll deal with that later. We'll see if it ends up happening. I have a tough time wanting to move on from the Kellen Moore, Dak Prescott duo. That dynamic, it is working as well as any offensive OC quarterback combo in the NFL. Those two are on the same wavelength. It's impressive. We also don't know how Kellen Moore is as a head coach. Being an OC, a great OC, does not mean you end up being a good head coach. There's a lot of different things that go into those jobs. So I don't know. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, future Tom problem. I don't want to worry about it. The Cowboys are 3-1. Let's focus on that instead. Now, if you guys want daily Cowboys videos, news, rumors, as the trade deadline approaches, we'll look at trade targets as well. Hit that big red button and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on anything here on the Cowboys Report. From X2Pro Skillz, from what we've seen so far, which player or players, I'll throw that in there, on the last year of their contract return to the team? I mean, pick a safety. Hooker, Wilson, and Casey are all free agents. I bet at least one comes back. I think they'll try to re-sign Randy Gregory if they can. Offensively, Dalton Schultz, Connor Williams, and Michael Gallup are all free agents. Now, maybe they try to, move Cooper to bring back Gallup and move Blake Jarwin to bring back Schultz. I don't know if Connor Williams will return because he's going to command a pretty big contract, I think, on the open market. There will have to be some replacements coming in and out from the draft, as it is for any good NFL team. As it relates to this current Dallas Cowboys roster, we kind of questioned this earlier too. What is the biggest area of concern for the Dallas Cowboys? Is it defensive tackle, cornerback 2? Get your votes in for me in the comments section. From Christian Crabtree, Michael's cousin, how much better you think we'll be with everyone back? I think about it this way. I think the offense is almost operating at full capacity, so they'll be a little bit better there. I think defensively, what you're going to see happen is the Cowboys defense will not turn the ball or force takeaways as often as they are right now. That will regress to the mean. But what will also regress positively is they won't allow as many yards. The third and long pickups will eventually stop, and I think they'll be a little bit more of a consistent defense, not relying so hard on takeaways. That will make them a better unit overall. Right now, they are performing at a top 10 level on defense. I am hyped about that. I think some positive and negative regression to the mean is going to coming, in the not too distant future. But Gallimore and Lawrence, that's going to help the defensive line in a big, big way.